Luke 23. Then the whole assembly of them got up and brought Jesus before Pilate. They began to accuse him, saying, "We found this man misleading our nation, saying that he himself is Messiah Christ, a king." So Pilate asked him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" And Jesus answered, "It is as you say." Then Pilate said to the chief priests and the crowds, "I find no guilt in this man." But they kept on insisting, saying, "He stirs up the people, teaching all over Judea, starting from Galilee, even as far as this place." When Pilate heard this, he asked if the man was a Galilean. And when he learned that he belonged to Herod's jurisdiction, he sent him to Herod, who himself also was in Jerusalem at that time. Then Herod, with his soldiers, treated Jesus with contempt, and mocking him, dressed him in a gorgeous robe, and sent him back to Pilate. Now Herod and Pilate became friends with one another that very day, for before they had been enemies with each other. Pilate summoned the chief priests, the leaders, and the people, and said, "You brought this man to me as one who incites the people to rebellion. But having examined him in your presence, I have found no guilt in this man regarding the charges which you accuse him. Neither has Herod, for he sent him back to us. Clearly, he has done nothing to deserve death. Therefore, I will punish him and release him." Pilate was obliged to release to them at the festival one prisoner. But they cried out all together, saying, "Take away this man and release for us Barabbas." He was one who had been thrown into prison for an insurrection in the city and for murder. Pilate, wanting to release Jesus, addressed them again, but they kept on shouting, "Crucify, crucify him." Pilate released the man they were asking for, who had been thrown into prison for insurrection and murder, but he delivered Jesus over to their will. As they led Jesus away, they seized a man, Simon of Cyrene, who was coming in from the country, and placed the cross on him to carry behind Jesus. Following him was a large crowd of people, including women who were mourning and lamenting him. But Jesus, turning to them, said, "Daughters of Jerusalem, do not weep for me, but weep for yourselves and your children." Two others who were criminals also were being led away to be put to death with him. When they came to the place called the Skull, Calvary, there they crucified him along with the criminals, one on the right and the other on the left. But Jesus was saying, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." And they cast lots, dividing up his garments among themselves. There was also an inscription above Jesus: "This is the King of the Jews." One of the criminals hanging there was hurling abuse at him, saying, "Are you not the Messiah Christ? Save yourself and us." But the other answered, "Do you not even fear God, since you are undergoing the same punishment? And we indeed are suffering justly, for we are receiving what we deserve for our deeds. But this man has done nothing wrong." And he was saying, "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom." And Jesus said to him, "Truly I say to you, today you shall be with me in paradise." It was now about the 6th hour, noon, and darkness fell over the whole land until the 9th hour, 3 p.m., because the sun was obscured, and the veil of the temple was torn in two, split down the middle. And Jesus, crying out with a loud voice, said, "Father, into your hands I commit my spirit." Having said this, he breathed his last. Now, when the centurion saw what had happened, he began praising God, saying, "Certainly this man was righteous." And all who knew him, including the women who accompanied him from Galilee, stood at a distance, watching these things. A man named Joseph, who was a member of the Sanhedrin council, a good and righteous man. He had not consented to their plan and action. He was from Arimathea, a Judean city of the Jews, who was looking forward to the kingdom of God. This man went to Pilate and asked for the body of Jesus. And he took it down and wrapped it in a fine linen cloth, and laid him in a tomb cut into the rock, where no one had ever lain. It was the preparation day, for the Sabbath was about to begin. Now the women who had come with him from Galilee followed along and observed the tomb and how his body was laid. Then they returned and prepared spices and perfumes. And on the Sabbath they rested, according to the commandment.